Hello and welcome. In this video, we will talk about the role of a product owner. We will cover product owner's role and responsibilities, other team roles that product owner works with, difference between a product owner and product manager, what does it take to be a successful product owner, and then we will cover in detail the role of a product owner in Scrum environment. Scrum is a form of agile methodology. So what is a product owner? A product owner is a member of agile team whose job is to document requirements in the backlog, and that means writing up user stories with acceptance criteria and getting the design documents as necessary, making sure that all the items that capture all the requests from the stakeholders, be it bugs, be it feature enhancements, are captured in a product backlog and prioritized. Then create visibility on the backlog, and this would mean the product backlog, which is a list of all the feature requests, but then also a backlog. As an example, the sprint backlog in Scrum, that's the backlog on the feature requests that are currently being worked on in the latest release cycle. So a product owner needs to create that visibility for all the stakeholders as well as the team members. A product owner needs to issue clarifications on requirements. So development teams are working on certain feature requests either during the planning stage or during development. If they have certain queries around any features, the requirements, that's what product owner needs to answer. And then it is the role of the product owner to maximize the value of the work that is being done. So essentially prioritize the tickets in a way that the most impactful items, the items that deliver most value to the business users, to the business itself, are ranked at the top of the backlog. If you would like to learn more about agile methodology in detail, we have tutorial out there specifically focusing on agile methodology. We have a tutorial on Scrum as well. We would recommend that you watch those. Now let's take a look at other team roles in Agile that product owner works with. The first one would be team lead, and this would be titled differently based on the Agile methodology being used. It could be a Scrum Master, project lead, there could be other titles. The role of this person would be to provide oversight to the overall Agile process to make sure that the rules are being followed, there are no deviations, and if there are certain resource requirements, anything that it takes to sort of to make the overall process work, it is the role of the team lead. Then you have the product owner. We have discussed this in detail in the last screen. Product owner is the owner of the product vision and the requirements. It is his or her job to make sure the most impactful items that are of value to the end user or the business get worked upon. It is product owner's job to handle the release cycle in the sense that make sure that whatever is being released, it meets the actual requirements. So product owner marks the tickets for the backlog items as done. And then we have the teams. This is the execution part of the agile team, and this consists of developers and testers, as an example, people who work on the development. And this team is generally self-sustaining, self-organizing. So on a day-to-day basis, they don't need help from a product owner or a team lead or anyone else to ensure that they are following the rules of agile. And then you have stakeholders. These could be folks who have stake in success, could be business users, project sponsors from the business side. And at different points in the process, they would provide their input and feedback to make sure that what's being released is actually of sort of value across the board. What is the difference between a product manager and a product owner? A product manager focuses on the strategic aspects of product development. So think of it, market research, doing customer interviews, doing high level initiatives for roadmap, working on partnerships, relationships to move the business and the product forward. Product owner, on the other hand, focuses on the execution. So once the high level product roadmap and the initiatives have been defined by the product manager, then it is upon the product owner to own that product vision. So product owner will own the backlog management. And that would be a list of all the items that would make the that would fulfill the product roadmap. And then it is the job of the product owner to document all the requirements in forms of user stories, getting the acceptance criteria, which would be business rules, all that kind of stuff, and getting the design documents, which could be mock-ups, anything that supplements the user stories, and whatever is required by the development team to do the actual execution. And then it is upon the product owner to own the release, and that means owning the definition of done. Does the work that was done by the development team, does it meet the requirements? Does it meet the requirements as mentioned or as specified by the stakeholders and the business users? All that execution part is done by the product owner. With a lot of the organization these days, product managers are fairly hands-on, so you might see an overlap between the responsibilities of product manager and product owner, uh, especially if it comes to the documentation piece or doing or getting the feedbacks from the customers, as an example. Now, what does it take to be a successful product owner? So here's a list of some of the things that could be key to your success. Empathy, empathy towards customers, be able to live their lives and understand their pain points, often even before they run into the challenges. Problem solving ability, that's what product owners do on a day to day basis. Ownership mindset, as mentioned earlier, product owner owns the vision, and it's your job to make sure the product is released out of the door. Attention to detail, that's a key requirement when you are writing up user stories, getting into the details of the functionality, or on a day-to-day basis when you are trying to work with trade-offs and conflicting priorities. A product owner should have that attention to detail. Communication skills are important. Be able to communicate across the board, be it with the developers or business users or customers, as an example. Be able to build relationships to get work done from all different stakeholders, to get development team, as an example, go out of their way to do the work for you, or alternatively customers or users providing feedback to you. Ideally, if you have a background in software development, that could contribute to your success as a product owner, because then you would have you would already understand what does it take to be a software developer, what their day-to-day challenges are. You understand their vocabulary. And then optionally, if you have some certifications on the product management side or in product owner side, as an example, there are certifications in agile, there are certifications in Scrum product ownership, that could be really helpful. What is a Scrum product owner? A Scrum product owner is essentially a product owner working in a Scrum environment. The roles and responsibilities of a Scrum product owner would be similar to that of any product owner who is working in any other agile methodology, but there are some key differences because of the specific aspects of Scrum. So a Scrum product owner would be documenting requirements in the form of user stories, and making sure that everything is documented and listed in the product backlog in the form of items, and then making sure that the product backlog items are properly prioritized so things can be picked upon by the development team and then moved into the sprint backlog. It is the role of the Scrum product owner to create visibility around the product backlog as well as the sprint backlog, to make sure all the stakeholders and the development team members and the other team members within the Scrum environment are aware of what's going on, what is currently being worked upon, what's coming their way. And then it is the role of the Scrum product owner to issue clarifications, answer any questions that the development team members may have, either prior to the start of the sprint or during the sprint. It is the role of the Scrum product owner to make sure that they maximize the value of what is being developed, and that work that's being developed at the end of every sprint is known as an increment. So how do you maximize that? The value is being maximized in terms of what's being delivered to the customers and then your business. It is the goal of the Scrum product owner to own the product vision and then the actual release. So making sure that whatever is being released the definition of done is being managed and owned by product owner. They have to make sure that whatever is being released and delivered, it meets the actual requirements. If you want to learn more about the Scrum product owner and Scrum as a process, we have another tutorial on it. We recommend that you watch it. So what are the main team roles in Scrum that a Scrum product owner works with? We have the same key four team roles that you would find in any agile methodologies, but the names for these team roles are specific to Scrum. So the first one would be Scrum Master, and this person's role is to provide oversight to the process to make sure that everything is working within the rules and frameworks of Scrum. There are no deviations, and if there are any resource requirements or any challenges that need to be addressed to make the process work, then that is upon the Scrum Master. Then you have the Scrum product owners, something we have already discussed here. The role of a Scrum product owner is to own the product vision, to be the voice of the customer, to document requirements, manage the backlog, manage the release. We have the team of developers and testers, and their job is to focus on the execution. It's a self-sustaining and organizing team, so they do not need to be trained upon the rules and practices of Scrum on a day-to-day basis. And finally, we have the stakeholders. These will be the users, the project sponsors who have stake in success, who from time to time would provide either their input in the requirements or feedback on the work that has been done. Now, what is the role of a Scrum product owner in various Scrum events? During the sprint planning stage, it is the role of Scrum product owner to answer any of the developer queries as they are estimating the stories and moving them to the sprint. It is the role of the Scrum product owner to split the stories if they are not granular enough, and then to group the stories if some stories would go together in a sprint. Product owner can also prioritize the stories for a sprint, so developers have a better idea of what should be done before. And finally, a Scrum product owner would provide a clear definition of what done means in terms of the requirements for the user stories. During the daily stand-up, it's recommended that product owner attends those, but given that the development teams are self-organizing, you can take a back seat as a product owner, but you still need to provide any queries on the developments on the requirement or any status updates that you may have on the development backlog items. During the sprint review, you need to make sure that as a product owner, you need to make sure that the relevant stakeholders are present. It could be the development team members or the people from the stakeholders from the business user side. And then you need to take a note of what was done during a sprint and what was not done. And then finally take the relevant feedback as necessary to improve to focus on the next sprint. And during the sprint retrospective, that is something that's more led by the Scrum Master. But your job is to take notes, provide suggestions to any problems, and then take leadership role on anything that needs your expertise. If you want to learn more about the overall Scrum framework and what these events mean, we recommend that you watch our Scrum tutorial. So that sums up this tutorial. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any feedback or suggestions, please put that in the comment section of the video, or alternatively submit your feedback at launchpad.com. Thank you.